why I chose the primary choice as my title. So I have a question for you. Okay. So who do you consider your person to go to, like when you have a problem or want someone to talk to? Who do you go to?
My mom.
Okay. So with that being said, today I want to talk to you guys about who to go to and why it's better for us to go to a therapist or counselor. Okay. So just to knock it off. Why don't we consider them and some of the reasons that we use for not going to them? So on February 2016, Melinda Smith, who has a master's in psychology, wrote an article named How Therapy and Counseling Can Help, and she bullet pointed some reasons, which are the reasons that are in bold, that we say or use to not go. So some of my bullet points would be like, oh, they're strangers, like why would we go to them about our problems? They don't really know who we are or where we come from or whatnot. And then the second one would be we don't see what the impact may be. So maybe you have tried it and you didn't see like any results. The third one would be neglect. Like you just don't realize that you have any issues or you don't feel like you need to go to therapy. Or you have trust issues with anyone, like you've had bad experiences with people, so you don't feel like trusting anyone else rather than the people you've trusted already. And some of the bullet points she used was, I don't need a therapist, I'm smart enough to solve my own problems. Well, that doesn't really depend on your intelligence, it's more based on the choices you make and how like you can be better at making choices. And that's what therapists do, they help you see your life in a different perspective and they put light into the ways that you're messing up, like the choices that you're making, how they're bad. And another one would be therapy is for crazy people. So not necessarily for crazy people, it's more like you're trying to figure out a way to see your life in a different way, or like trying to make a choice from a better view. All therapists want to talk about is my parents. So I'm sure there's therapists out there that you go to and they like ask you, oh, well, how was your mom related to this? Well, basically they ask you questions about your family because it all like comes down to old experiences that relate to new problems that are coming up in your life. And therapy is self-indulgent. It's for whiners and complainers. Not necessarily for whiners and complainers. It's more like you're self-aware of like that you're messing up in some way or you need help and like you're not afraid to ask for it. I know trustworthiness is a huge component to our lives and I'm sure it's very meaningful to every one of you. So on February 15, 2016, I interviewed my aunt, Emma Quintero, who has a master's in psychology and also a counselor at a girls group home. And I asked her, why do you think like we should turn to you, or like why do you suggest we do that? And she said the reason we encourage everyone to consider getting help or advice from us is because we'll give you an honest and reasonable suggestion and even give great recommendations. We make you feel comfortable and gain our trust. Your trust, everything said to us under regulation must be kept confidential. So comparing that to going to like a family member, sure, like it feels more comfortable because like they know who you are, but they'll most likely give you like a biased opinion or an opinion or advice based on their emotion. Whether like in compared to a professional, like they won't have any emotion to be attached to. So reliability. Why should we rely on counselors and therapists rather than our family members or friends? This is a quote from in 2012 from Nugara Jackie, and she stated this in an article named Why Therapy, How Counseling and Therapy Can Help You. And she said, while the support of friends and family is important, therapy is different. Therapists are professionally trained listeners who can help you get to the root of your problems, overcome emotional challenges, and make positive changes in your life. So now that I discussed the problem, which is us not turning to therapists or counselors and going to like our family members and friends, and I discussed why we don't turn to them, I'm going to discuss some of the benefits. So some of the benefits would be they give you a non-biased opinion. So like I said before, they won't give you feedback on what they feel, but more of what they know and what they've studied for a while. And it's beneficial in the long run because your life like positively changes and like make you become a problem solver, good at problem solving. And in textbook named Psychology that I also used in my previous speech that was published on January 10th, 2009, there was a survey made by 400 or 500 Massachusetts boys, and they split them up in half, so it was 250, 250, 250 were surveyed on how happy they were like in the future, and some of them were surveyed how happy they were in the future after therapy. So it resulted in the 250 that took therapy were much more happier than the ones that didn't take therapy, and like there was other psychological issues as well with the ones that didn't take therapy, like they had more problems and like they were making bad decisions in their life. So yeah, positive changes, and it changes your perspective on your life. Like you don't see yourself like in a negative perspective, it's more positive. So counseling is always offered everywhere. So like I mentioned before, my aunt is a psychologist and counselor. No, she has her master's in psychology and she's a counselor at the group home. But before that, she used to work at I don't know if you've heard of Para los Niños. So it's like a non-profit organization that helps out like families like with their problems and stuff, and they provide free therapy sessions or free counseling sessions. So yeah, just look that up if you guys are interested. Another article was in the LA Times on June 9, 2013. Santa Monica college students were offered counseling after there was like a major shooting at their school, and it helped out like many people, and like many people can say that, oh, I had someone to turn to or whatnot, and they didn't have to turn to like a family member or friend. It was therapy that was helping them. So now that I've discussed the problem, which is us not considering therapists or counselors, like I'm sure many of you have thought of it, or like, oh yeah, maybe someday, but maybe like this would push you guys to actually commit and actually go. I talked about the causes and some of the benefits and solutions, and that concludes my speech.